Hey, doing everyone? Welcome back to NRL Fantasy Analysis. In this one, there's a few things I want to talk about. Firstly, you probably would have noticed the new logo on our page there on YouTube when you click the video, and also a little banner at the bottom there. So just upgrading the videos slightly each and every year. So a few things down there. Obviously, we've got our Discord group link, which I'll pop the actual link in the description as well. But just gives you a bit of a reminder to join that if you haven't yet. Also, we've got our league code there. So that's the overall league code, which is really cool. And just the next announcement is the alternates team this year. I've figured out a different way to go about it in this season, and that's actually going to be teaching you guys and helping you guys with those of you who play head to head. So I'm going to make that third team. Obviously, going to have my normal team. We're going to have the People's Squad, which everyone, if you're part of the Discord group, we have a section there for the People's team. And you guys can make your say on how that team goes. And we actually did really, really well last year and made top 100 there. So if we can try and better that would be really cool. And now the third team, just a way of helping the guys out that play head to head on a regular basis, and then also giving an opportunity to invite me to your league. So I'm going to join a heap of different leagues, and we'll see how I'm going across the season. Do a lot of content, obviously, on creating your overall team. But I know a lot of people play head to head, and also go for overall at the same time. But there's definitely a different strategy if you're playing head to head. The strategy won't change too much at the start, which I'll talk about before the season kicks off. There, you're looking to create a lot of value so that you can create the best team possible. If you're picking up guys like Payne Haas, for example, who are going to pay Origin, you're definitely not trading them out of your side. Another example is if you're having a gun that's going to be out for 2 weeks, for example. In Classic, you probably, there's a chance you trade them out 2 to 3 weeks for sure. But in head-to-head, you just be holding those keepers and you're trying to generate as much cash as possible. So I'll be showing you how to do that in this team. And if anyone wants to have this little tagline at the start of your team names, that would be really cool. We've got the JB, so Jamie Brown Fantasy Analysis will be our little tagline. If you'd like to do that and you feel like you're part of the community, that would be really cool. You might see a few guys in the Discord group, especially the mods, have that in front of their name at this stage. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, if you would like me to be in your head-to-head league, I'll probably create one as well. But the unfortunate thing is you can only create a 20-man head-to-head one. But yeah, invite me to those leagues, guys. Send me a message in the description, in the comments below, or I'll pop a little tab on the Discord as well where we can talk about the head-to-head stuff. But that would be really cool. So that's another little announcement there. But we are going to go through the first 6 games of the trials. I think the Warriors game's been cancelled for tonight, but we'll have the Dogs game, which is going to be pretty important with guys like Pango Jr., Burton, those types of players to follow. But we'll go through the 6 here while we can. I've got some time here today with the Eagles and the Raiders. Obviously, still not great to look at the points, etc., with the meters and tackles all being in different spots. But we'll go through the points and what I saw to the eye for guys that are pretty important. Tommy Trevorvich looks great. There's no issues with him, but these are the kind of, obviously not 16, but the scores of 35 to 45 kind of thing. If you're looking to pick him up at $1 million, that you'll get those random scores like that, especially the odd time against a better team if they got a really good defense. 35 to 45 with a try or a try assist for him is going to be pretty normal. He'll have those games where he absolutely dominates in others. So just be aware of that with Tommy. Looking down there, look at DCE. He's not going to be scoring 15s, for example. Obviously, they didn't play full games, but I wouldn't look too much into it, but just be aware that these guys, people aren't always going to get amazing scores, which we'll talk about with a few other guys later. You're picking up players just based on one good trial, for example. Someone like Luciano Leilua in the next one we're going to talk about a little bit further, but that's an example. Oluwatu, I haven't heard any further news yet, but it looks like he might have a fractured arm, which could give some room for Carl Lawton to play on that right edge or the left and bully more. So they both should have a fair bit of time, anywhere between 3 to 5 weeks, I'd say, for either one of them. And you kind of got to work out which one's going to be getting the most time as to them being worth it the most. But Carl Lawton's going to be an interesting one because the average is very high in 70 to 80 minutes on an edge. So that's there. Bullymore, if we're looking at his play, to the eye, he's someone who is solid. When he runs the ball, he doesn't have that vigor like some other guys do, like a Luciano Leilua, like a Oluwatu. But he's someone that's just going to be solid. He'll defend for you. He's going to be needing decent minutes on the edge, I think, to score well. He's 25, was in shorter game time, so we're getting more than that on the edge. And he's had no real attacking stats or anything. So he's someone that price point at 315 or whatever he is, that's going to be. We'll check 3 what. 330, sorry, 331. That's going to do solid for you, make you a bit of cash, and then get moved to the bench probably. So yeah, at this stage he's in my squad, but we'll work that out further as we go. Dylan Walker's going to be solid off the bench if you're looking at him. Kyle Lawton, again, he spent a bit of time off the interchange, but if he gets that starting role for, if we can work out between 3 to 4 weeks, then he probably is going to be worth it. And nothing really too important following that. On the Raiders side of things, we obviously, we have to ooh up a little bit with Savage. He's going to have his, really good games. And, someone made a very good, solid, interesting comment based on, we're getting super excited about a guy that's obviously super talented, but we're going off one good score. He's had a couple of okay scores around that. He was okay last week. Better than this, obviously, but 13 points this game. So just go up on him. He probably, I think Ricky came out and said CNK is going to get the number 1 role for the first game. Is Savage going to be in the bench? Is he going to be in the wing? If he is playing in the wing, do you pick him up? Definitely a few options there if you'd like to do that. Tomoko looks really solid. He runs the ball really hard. I like watching him play. So he's going to figure at some point, I think, for sure. I wouldn't be touching him now, I don't think, just on the price. It's so hard to fit all the guys in that we want. Jackie Whiten with 44 points. I think he was really cool. Him and Fogs played well together. I think with Fogs being more the organizer, Whiten did have an errant pass to get Saab. Was it Saab or the centre? Tula. A length of the field try. There was a couple of them at the start, actually. So other than that, he was great in attack and scored solidly. I'm happy with how he looked. Tarpany, still, guys, he's unvaccinated and he won't be able to play when he goes to Queensland. So there's a game in round 2. There's also a couple of games throughout the season, I think round 8, round 10 maybe. So he's going to miss a bunch of games and he's not going to get vaccinated before the season starts, right? He needs to have double vax. So go up on him a little bit just for the fact that he's playing amazingly, don't get me wrong, but just he's going to miss games from him and it's just not worth it to muck around with something like that, I don't think. And then guys like Starling, he's going to be solid off the bench. He's going to get used at somewhere between 30 and 50 on a regular basis, just depending on the minutes. So if he gets around that 50, 55, 60 minutes, he could be worth it, but he's someone I'd probably watch at the start. If there's an injury to Hodgson, then you just bring him in straight away, for example. Other guys like Elliott, Horsburgh, Horsburgh's going to score solidly, but the minutes there, Sutton, Haranara, all guys to think about, but don't think about them too much at this stage, I don't think. Okay, we'll go to the Roosters and the Tigers game. Lockie Lamb, we don't need to bother. Momorowski is really solid, obviously going to try there. 43 points. He's going to be scoring somewhere around there, but that's what you're paying for. Just under 500k. You're looking for somewhere in the 40 to 50, 45 range with him. We're still not going to be not sure who's going to be kicking goals. So Kieran came out and kicked the goals. He's obviously a bit of a sharpshooter. If he's not in that starting side, then who kicks? We didn't even find out. Is it going to be Walker? Is it going to be Momorowski? Mom said he hasn't been obviously practicing too much. That's a bit of a pain. Manu was solid in the 6th role. Walker looked amazing. Did score 32 points. Just be aware of that in this game. And that included a really, really cool long-range try assist where he skipped through a few players early in their half and went away and did really well there. So just remember that what you saw today, yes, he's super talented, but is he going to get as many opportunities playing next to Kiri? I just don't see it. And he has to score somewhere in the mid-40s to be worth it. So to me, I think you have to pass at this stage, but it's completely up to you. If you think he's going to take the next step and they're going to share the duties, then by all means go for it. Rads, I think you should be holding off on. I wouldn't be touching him at this stage. That's probably it on the Roosters front. We're obviously going to have Teddy coming back, Crichton, these types of guys. So just be aware of that when you're looking at picking up players. Okay. Dane Laurie was solid. Gildart looked a lot better, but still too expensive for me. Hastings looked really solid, and I think the Tigers played a lot better, with Hastings and Brooks together. Hastings has come back with a bit more experience, obviously, coming from English, from the English games, the English Super League, I should say. And he looks solid, and 43 points, including a fair few run meters at 109 there. He's going to tackle, he's going to kick in general play. They're going to split all that. So I think he was really solid, and he's very interesting at his price point, but probably a little bit too heavy at this stage just with too much going on. I said there's not enough money to splash around, so I don't think you can if you wanted to pick him up, I definitely would not push you away from him. I think he played well, and I think he should have a decent season. And Brooks will do well also. Ran the ball nicely. All right, Stefano, for example, played a much better game than he did last week. So if you are still interested in him, I wouldn't be getting you to shy away from him. I think he's going to do great. He was looking to offload which was a big one, and ran the ball hard. So yeah, I wouldn't shy away. If he's getting the minutes, then he's going to do well. Tuolangi I was really interested in. He ran a hard line and made a lot of post-contact meters, the odd tackle bust, and they went to him close to the line as well. So the chance of some tries as well, especially against a better team than a worse team than the Roosters, for example. So he's someone that I'm looking to plug into my team. If he gets a starting spot, I imagine he'll be very highly owned, and fair enough with that. I've had a lot of questions about Luciano Leilua. So 79, he looked great. He has these types of games, remember, though. He's someone that's going to average over 50 anyway. So what, are you expecting him to get this every game? He's going to get the odd 40 as well when he doesn't go all in on the game, let's say. He's not, like some of the other edges where they're getting the 40 tackles and 150 meters on a regular basis. He's someone around the 30, missing a few. Maybe he runs 100 meters this game and a little bit less another game, you know what I mean? So he's going to get somewhere between a 35 and highs of 80, which he might get a couple of times a year. So just be aware of that. Previous years he's got 100 in certain games as well. So if you're interested in him, I'm not going to push you away, but just be aware that it is a trial game. Roosters are missing a few players. They did beat Roosters, which is probably not going to happen in the real game. So just be aware of that going forward. Yeah, it's a trial game. We look at this. Panthers can get done 36-0. Obviously, no Cleary, Yo, a bunch, Fisher Harris, a bunch of their enforcers, right? But Eels played well. You can get done in a trial pretty comfortably, which they did. But on the Panthers side, obviously losing 36-0, it's hard to say too much about guys in your centers, right? We see Tago with 23. We see Crichton with 21. Both had solid games. I liked how they looked to the eye. When Panthers get everyone back, they're going to benefit greatly going forward into the season. So 23 and 21 in a real bad game when you lose 36-0. Sometimes you can see your centers getting 5, 10, 15, something like that. So to get over 20 is solid. I think Tago was solid in defense, even though they did miss a bunch of tackles. If we scroll down a little bit further, 4 missed tackles out of 17. So I'm happy he made 17 there, and Crichton 21, obviously missed 5. But when you're done 36-0, there's a few tries that are near the line that they crash over you, for example, and you get credited that missed tackle. So I'm not too worried about Tago and Crichton. Let's see how they shape up for round 1. And Robert Jennings, for example, as well, 22. So 240K, if he gets a starting spot and Staines doesn't get it, then it looks like maybe Staines could be used as the backup fullback, for example, rather than Crichton moving back to the 1. I was having to think about this on the weekend. Crichton might just stay center all year, and Staines could be the backup. So Jennings staying on the wing. And if Edwards is playing sweet, if Edwards is out, then Staines can come straight into 1 and be a specialist fullback. I think that might be how they're training him rather than moving the team around. That's my thoughts. We'll see what happens. Sean O'Sullivan was solid. If he ends up getting a spot, he'll be an interesting, if Cleary ends up getting injured or something like that, he could be an interesting one, carrying the team along there. We're doing majority of kicking, running the ball a bit, tackling well. I think he could be solid there. Coruscant is going to do his thing. Eisenhuth has always been good if he gets an opportunity, but Yo's in front of him. Sorensen was solid as well. And someone like Spencer Leniu, who did end up getting a great go in this game. Didn't he end up getting scratched, didn't he? Yeah, well, it would have been nice to see him. He was meant to be starting, but didn't happen. So that will I'd probably be sitting off on Leniu. If he happens to get a bigger role, if he happens to take that Liam Martin role, then that would be cool. But if not, then we won't touch him, obviously. Okay, so on the Eels side of things, obviously things were a little bit nice for a bunch of their players, especially their halves, for example. But we talk about Sean Russell. I think he ran the ball really hard. I liked his mongrel. He did really well there. So I think there's going to be games where he's going to get that mid-20s if nothing too much happens for him. But then he'll have games where he gets 40 or 50 with a double. So at that price point of 260, if he's getting a bunch of time, then he could be solid. Penasini, think about the class that he showed at the start of the game. Made a half break down the right side, and then kicked the ball back into Gutho, who would then pass it to Isaiah Papali'i. So 33 in this game without really many attacking stats. He didn't even get credit that try assist, for example, which he shouldn't have. That's fine. But 33 for him. Yes, they went to the left a fair bit, but it's going to change game to game. They're not going to tackle left all the time. Yes, we can say Rabbitohs did. But it also, Campbell Graham on the right did score a few tries as well. Yeah, we don't forget that. They might go there 70% of the time, but the other 30% of the time, if they're a team going well, like the Eels will, he'll get his opportunities. So I think he's got a lot of talent at 350K. If you can fit him in, great. If you can't, then that's also fine. Don't worry about it. If a bunch of those 240 guys pop up and you can get a gun elsewhere, then go for that instead for sure. Dylan Brown was really nice. It's great to see him come back. I spoke about him as someone who's not going to be affected too much by the new scoring. if he's running the ball well, he looked really solid in this trial, and I hope that he can continue doing that. Mitch Moses will be a little bit more reliant on, who's more reliant on the kicking and attacking stats, is someone that I think we can avoid early on. Mahoney was solid. Reedy there. Papali'i was good. Madison in the middle was fine. All lesser minutes, but all did a good job. That's about all I have to say on that game. We've got 3 more to go. Alrighty, so Taff, how will we say it? Got 30 points. We won't be thinking too much about him. We also got a little bit up and down the scoring. Johnston and Mansell, the wingers, had a bit of a light one. Cody Walker was great. So if he's getting that opportunity to get his hands on the ball as much as he did, he's going to run it 76 metres there. Plenty of assists, tries himself. It's all going to happen for Walker. I think that he's going to be a solid, player all year in fantasy, and also for the Rabbitohs going for that try assist record again. Lockie Ilias was really happy with a bunch of really good kicks. He got a 20-40 at one point, coming out of trouble with guys coming in to tackle him. So that he was good. I'm happy with him. He'll be a slow burn cash cow for sure, with the odd 30 odd and 50s and 60s possibly as well if he gets a few try assists. But yeah, he's someone you just got to lock into your side, and we'll find out if we're who pops up in terms of if he's going to be starter on our bench or if he's a starter in your main team, for example. And that's that. Okay, the other guy to talk about is Jai Arrow. Really liked his effort. He played about 55 minutes on the edge and in the middle, so it'll be interesting to see if that is how he plays heading into round 1, or if when Murray's back, for example, is he going to be spending the majority of time on the edge? I still think he's a solid pickup. He's only 26 years old. He's in sort of getting into the prime of his career. Played if you look at his time at lock in the Titans, for example, he has had some really, really big, solid seasons in decent minutes, 60, 65 minutes. So if you can get it close to 70, if you can take that Jaden Sewell role, 72.5 minutes that he had on an edge, if that's where he stays, then that's going to be great. If he happens to play some edge and play some middle and gets around that 60 minutes, I think he's also going to be able to average 50 as well. So probably about 7 points in value for a dual position guy that you'll probably have to move coming into Origin. So again, he's probably a little bit of a luxury at that 550 mark. Him and Stefano are probably going to be similar. Stefano probably has a little bit more upside. Arrow has the safety, I'd say, and also the dual position. So think of him that way. So he's someone I'm definitely interested in, but we'll have to wait and see how things go. If he gets spoken about by a coach in terms of what his role is going to be coming into round 1. What's going to happen with Stefano? Is his minutes going to be big? We'll have to find out a few of these things. Okay, Sloan was solid again. Nice pass early on, for example. I was really happy with how the Dragons looked, and that's where I can see some value in Sully and Lomax. Ramsey looked really good. That was an amazing try. So I think their backline is going to be pretty solid. Amon looked great. 7 tackle breaks in his 31 points. Hunt's going to be good too. I'm not worried about both of them. So at 350k, probably lock him in at this stage. If you, again, similar to Penasini, I think they're both going to have a pretty solid season. Obviously, youngsters that are going to be volatile, going to have the ups and the downs. So do you play them each week? That's the question, but you probably need to find a spot in your side for him. And then we move to someone like Jack Bird. Still misses a lot of tackles. That's my worry of him on the edge. I think in the middle, he's going to be a little bit safer, but we're interesting to see if he does get that middle role or if he stays on an edge or roams between both. But probably at the moment, he's just out of my side. I'm just finding it hard to fit. I'm looking at Ewan Aitken over him, for example, and then maybe even Burton in the centres, I'd say. I think a number 6 or a playmaker is probably going to be better than a guy on the edge who's going to play somewhere near that 70 to 80 minutes. But that's that on that game. 2 more to go, Cowboys and the Broncos. It was really nice to see the Cowboys play. If anyone's a Cowboys fan, let's just talk through the gameplay while we're there. I actually really liked, yes, we paid a lot of money, probably too much money for Townsend, but we need that structure. His age and experience, I think, is going to be great. Around guys like Hamiso, Valentine Holmes moving into centers look really solid. I like that line he ran to score his try. And you've got Hallam Lukey, you've got Gilbert, you've got Nanai. All these guys on, across the squad to go along with Drinkwater and Dearden. I think that he really, directed the team around well, kicked to the corners nicely. And then you've got guys like Drinkwater who can come in and Hamiso and Holmes that can spark a bit of magic and score for us. I think that they'll be okay this year. Still going to be a bottom sort of 3 team, but I liked what I saw. Yes, the Broncos didn't have Reynolds, but the majority of their team was pretty much full strength. So something to think about there. In terms of fantasy prospects, I'm happy with Hamiso. yes, he's not going to be someone that, unless he's getting long range breaks, he's not going to be averaging high 100 meters, like 170, 180. I don't see it happening, but he's got enough in him to score tries and try assist, I think. So he'll score solidly. If you want to start with him, I'm not going to push you away from him. Lukey, so he played big minutes, which is good to see, but 49 points. He's someone who's going to get the odd tackle break. He's just a big, rangy guy. Obviously looks really young. Even just looking at the photo there, he's that real tall, lean guy who runs fast. He can break through the line a little bit, and was solid in defense without being incredible. Came out of line a few times and missed a few of those crappy missed tackles that we hate as fantasy players. But I think he's going to be solid. Just the 450k mark is a bit annoying. If it was 350 like Nanai, then I'd be selecting him for sure. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with Nanai. We didn't get a look at him here in this trial, unfortunately, so it'd be hard to pick him up straight up if he does get a spot in here. Is he playing 50 minutes? Do they have Gilbert to come on and play that role off the bench? There's a few things to think about with him, with Nanai there. Gilbert as well. Yes, 42, but again, bigger minutes and moving from edge to middle. Cotter was solid. If we're looking, I'm going to speak about Kobe Hetherington in a sec. Let's just do the comparison. We've got Cotter and Hetherington both with the same haircut. One's 130, 125k more expensive in Cotter. Does he have slightly better work ethic than Kobe Hetherington? Probably. And has some better scores currently. Year to year, he's got some great scores in hooker. He's got some decent scores in 13. But the 125k difference is, close to, is 10 points of value basically. And I think Kobe can at least, bridge the gap by 5 and probably be better option. Yes, they both have the mid and the hooker dual. So I'd personally go Kobe at this point, but Cotter's going to be solid as well. Is he going to have close to 10 points of value? I think Kobe has more chance of having that 10 points than Cotter does, just based on price. I think Cotter's a better option in terms of scoring each week, but Kobe's probably the better option money-wise to fit other players in your side. But as I said, really liked Drinkwater and moved to the Broncos. So if you are someone that's thinking about Payne Haas, then I think there's nothing to worry about with him. He looked great, played half a game, ended up getting sim-binned at the end. So the 37 that he picked up, 34, would have been a point a minute 40 or just above. So yeah, awesome for him if you wanted to pick him up. He's great. Someone like Tony Stagg, just be aware that he's going to have the up and down game. Some games will absolutely smash it, score a couple of tries. He looks great, so he's gonna score well over the year. Cobbo, probably a little bit too expensive, even though he looked good. He's going to be a great player, but again, too expensive for me to pick from the start. Billy Walters ended up with 42 points, and I'm glad that he ran the ball. So he's always really trying. There's a few passes that he made were pretty bad, so an error or two in there, or it just ruins the flow of their attack, for example. But if he's getting that 6 roll from the start, if he's moved into that, and that's the way they like, they want him to run the ball and Reynolds to kick and play from there, and control the team, then that's cool. But yeah, 42, he definitely, let's just say he didn't play as good as that suggests, for example. But really happy with that. If you're going to pick him up, Pakes wasn't too nice at 18. Obviously played half a game. And Turpin coming on as well. So for 18, yes, he's cheap, but I think he needs big minutes. Who knows how that's going to shake out. We'll have a look at team list and do another chat from there, but yeah, not great. Pereira, I just think he runs the ball so hard that he's going to be getting tackle breaks. He's going to be getting high run meters. He's made a bunch of errors in the second half. So yes, that might hurt his chances of getting this spot. But at this stage, I suggest, if Tessie New comes back, Cobbo moves to, he has to take Oates' spot, doesn't he? I think Pereira is better than Oates, but again, we'll find out team list, right? But I'd be picking up Pereira at this stage. Cheaper than all the other wing fullbacks and centers. Yes, doesn't have the dual, but I think he's got the pedigree. He scored well in the past. Capewell wasn't great with 12. Yes, he's going to be better than that, but don't get too excited on Capewell. I don't think overall, he's got a few points of value, but not someone I'd be screaming at buying. Hetherington, 47. 55 minutes, was really solid. I like his work ethic. Runs the ball pretty hard too. So overall, solid player, 376k. I think I'm personally just getting him in my team and just dealing with it from there. Gamble has obviously played the majority of the game there, kicking and playing the Reynolds role. He was solid, but that's it on the Broncos side. And our last game here is going to be the Storm and also the Knights. So that was a solid game yesterday. A few decent scores around the traps. Coates got 9 just because he got the head knock, 20 or 23 minutes in or something like that. And yeah, it looked okay. But again, when they got their full squad back, he should be scoring a fair few tries. But remember, it's not Supercoach. You don't get an incredible amount of points like you do, for attacking sacks like you do in Supercoach. A lot of Storm guys score a bunch of tries, but their running meters and stuff are fairly low, and that's going to be pretty normal for him going forward. But something to think about. He's a solid option, dual position, not dual, can't remember. Someone will tell me in the comments. So that's that with him. Jerome was solid. Wishart looked really good. Again, we're not going to be picking him up because Grant's going to be there. Munster looked great. Hughes was good. Josh King was okay, 29 points in his time. So again, let's have a look at what team lists are going to say. With Nelson back, it might hurt his minutes a bit because he was incredible. Nelson, bloody hell, just running over blokes for sure. He was great there. Munster as well, looking fit. Howarth probably have to be off him, I'd say, in terms of I don't think he's going to be getting a spot in the 17. So if you have him in your side currently, just be aware you're probably going to have to move him on out of your 21. Just because we got 21, if you compare it to Supercoach, for example, they got 25. So you can hold one or two guys that aren't going to be playing straight away. Whereas in NRL fantasy, especially with COVID and injuries and suspensions, guys are going to be in and out of teams very regularly, which means we're going to be needing close to that 21, especially covering all positions, for example. So Howarth at some point we can just bring him in, I think, is my suggestion. And we'll move to the Knights to finish it off for the week with one game to go, which I'll analyze in another one, guys. But the Knights side of things, we got Ponga. He was solid. I wouldn't be picking him up at this stage. I'm going to call him an avoid, just for the fact the team's not going to be too great. He's finding his feet in this new setup in the team. Clune, for example, was okay. So a lot of people were thinking about him, but if he has that opportunity to score, the odd 20-odd, which I think he does, and he doesn't have a massive upside. Clifford has much more upside. Obviously, it's a lot more expensive, but I think there's better options. You can go with Ilias. We'll speak about Kurt Mann in a second, but probably other guys I'd pick over Clune. Clifford is going to be, I think he's going to be pretty decent. Will there be a fair bit of value on his price? Probably not. Maybe a little bit, but he looks like he's going to be solid at least. Randall as well, just get him in your team. Put him in your top four interchanges, your reserves, for example. Take his score and run with it. See what happens. Kurt Mann, I'm still pretty high on him. Got a bunch of tackle breaks in his 61 meters, so it wasn't crazy meters gained. Obviously, they were defending a fair bit, but defended well. He's going to be great. I think anywhere between the 40 and 50 mark, you can expect him to average, and hopefully some 60 minutes would be good, and he'll hit a nice PPM there. I'm still interested in what they're going to do with Barnett, and that's about it. In terms of all that, guys. So let me know what you think of the new logo, the new banner down the bottom, and obviously with the league code, guys. If you're joining that, there is going to be prizes that I'm going to pop up. I'm going to announce them before round one, so it's going to be a top 3. So I hope you're getting that and fill that up fast, and then the head-to-head as well. Send me your league in the comments. Send me your codes to join head-to-heads, and I'll jump in them for sure. So that'll be exciting with that one. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Please hit like, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. See you later.